Let's start. Again, I'll tell you few points which are of importance. First, when you are exploring abdomen, we are giving an incision in the anterior abdominal wall, isn't it? So when you give incision in the anterior abdominal wall, suppose this is the anterior abdominal wall, you are giving one midline incision like this. Okay. Once you give the midline incision, what do we come across, Ritika? First, we will see layers of abdomen. No, just below skin, we will have superficial fascia. Below superficial fatty layer, we have deep membranous layer. There is no deep fascia here, isn't it? Below this, we have three flat muscles of abdomen. What are those? External oblique, internal oblique, and transversus abdominis. Deep to these flat muscles of abdomen, we will see fascia transversalis. Once you cut open the fascia transversalis, you will see the abdomen is explored like this. You are seeing a part of liver which is shown in pinkish brown color. You are finding stomach. This is the greater curvature where you have the attachment of greater omentum, which is quite big and large, underneath which you are finding the coils of small intestine. Okay, you are also shown the outline of large intestine, that is ascending colon, transverse and descending colon. Okay, beta. Once you lift this greater omentum, underneath the greater omentum, we have coils of small intestine, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon is not yet seen. That means you need to just remove these coils of small intestine in order to see this large intestine. Now you see here the small intestine has been cut and you are finding the fold of peritoneum which is suspending the small intestine. What is the name of this fold of peritoneum, Ritika?
Mesentery.
Very good. Mesentery. Mesentery is the fold of peritoneum which is suspending the small intestine, and you can see what are the parts of small intestines, Ritika? DJI.
Duodenum,
Duodenum,
ileum.
jejunum, ileum. So ileum is now in connection with ascending colon. Okay, the what is the first part of ascending colon called as, Ritika? I have shown you the other day.
Cecum.
Very good, cecum. What is the blind pouch coming from cecum called as?
Appendix.
Excellent. Okay. So cecum, appendix, then you have ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum, which continues as anal canal. Okay, beta. Now see here. Now, after removing the stomach, you are actually seeing the contents of stomach bed. Meghana, are you understanding? In the previous picture, first thing you could see was stomach. The first thing. Now that means now you have removed the stomach, you have cut the greater omentum, then you are seeing the coils of small intestine. Then after this, now you are seeing, if you are just lifting the liver, stomach has been cut. This is the cardiac end of the stomach and this is the pyloric end of the stomach. So behind the stomach, whatever visceral organs we are finding, that is stomach bed. We are finding pancreas. In the tail of pancreas, we are finding spleen. Okay. Then what else we have, beta? See, this is liver, right lobe, left lobe, and this is the gallbladder. Okay. We didn't discuss liver yet. Okay. And this is C-fold duodenum, which I gave very clear explanation. How many parts, Ritika, it has?
4.
Yeah, first part, second, third, and fourth part. Within the C-fold of duodenum, which visceral organ is present?
Pancreas.
Tell me the parts of pancreas.
Head, neck, body, tail.
Very good. Head, neck, body, tail. Towards head, you have a projection, no?
Uncinate process.
Very good. Uncinate process. Okay, fine. Nice. Very good. So this we did. This also we did. We have to go to,
Ma'am, in small intestine, how to differentiate between jejunum and ileum, ma'am?
that is possible only when you cut the section and see, beta. Jejunum will have folds, mucosal folds, villi. Lot of villi
Okay.
will be there. Whereas in ileum, you will find no villi are there. The mucosa is smooth and you will see very small round nodules which are called as Peyer's patches.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So jejunum is an
Okay.
active area where maximum reabsorption of nutrients take place. Whereas in the ileum, you will see lymphatic nodules in the form of Peyer's patches. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
that is the difference. Thickness also, jejunum will be thicker and ileum is thinner beta comparatively. Okay.
Okay. And even based on the fat, can we differentiate?
Fat distribution will be more towards ileum only beta.
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am.
Huh. And you can also see the straight vessels, vasa recta. Arterial arcades, they will be more towards jejunum and they are less towards ileum. Okay. That windows, arterial arcades. You just look into the textbook, you will get the picture also of arterial arcades. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Huh.
Ah,
Now see here, tomorrow, like in the list which is given to me by you, we have kidney, ureter, urinary bladder, uterus, testis, right? See, whichever organ I am now coming across, I will explain you. These are all sagittal sections we have now of pelvis. So in the sagittal section, first pelvis is of male sagittal section of pelvis. This point is pubic symphysis. Just behind the pubic symphysis, we have urinary bladder. Behind the urinary bladder, in case of male, we have rectum and anal canal. Okay, covering the superior surface of urinary bladder, this is the peritoneum. And there is a fold of peritoneum between rectum and urinary bladder. What is the name of this pouch? Rectovesical pouch. Okay, rectovesical pouch. Now this is the sagittal section of female pelvis, where in between urinary bladder, rectum, anal canal, we also have uterus. Okay, so uterus is anteverted and anteflexed, and again you have two folds of peritoneum here in the front. Between the urinary bladder and uterus, we have vesico-uterine pouch. Behind we have recto-uterine pouch. Okay, that is the pouch of Douglas. Okay, this is again nice section of urinary bladder you are finding. This is again male pelvis. Pubic symphysis is this side. Okay. Uh, then this is urinary bladder and this is rectum anal canal. Okay. So here you have the fold of peritoneum, that is rectovesical pouch. Okay. Then what are the presenting parts of urinary bladder? Beta, we have, it has apex, it has superior surface, it has base, it has neck, and it has inferolateral surface. I'm again repeating, this is apex, this is base, this is superior surface, okay, this is inferolateral surface, and this is neck. That's how you have to identify when this section is given to you. At the apex of urinary bladder, there is one ligament which is called as median umbilical ligament, which goes up to umbilicus, this white median umbilical ligament. Okay, interior of bladder is showing so many mucosal folds. Okay, but there will be one area where you will not find any mucosal folds, that is actually called as trigone, isn't it? See, at the neck of the urinary bladder, you will see the urethra is starting, and this is male section. So the urethra will continue its journey in the prostate gland. Okay, this is the prostatic urethra. And the further journey, you call it as penile urethra, penis. Okay, penile urethra. Okay, that is the urinary bladder, what you can see from this section. In females also the same presenting parts, apex, this area most dependent part is base, superior surface, inferolateral surface, neck. At the neck of the bladder, in case of males, we find prostate, whereas in females, from the neck, the urethra continues to pass through the urogenital diaphragm, pelvic diaphragm, and opens into the exterior in the perineum. Okay, then now in case of female, we also have second visceral organ in the sagittal section of pelvis, that is uterus. The presenting parts are, this is fundus, this whole thing is body, and lower part we have cervix. Cervix is continuing its journey in this passage, that is vagina. Okay, now when you see, it is folding on itself, forming the angle of flexion which is bending on the uterus, that is 125 degrees, and it forms an angle with vagina also. You call it as angle of anteversion, which is 90 degrees. Okay, and this is the cervical canal. The cervical canal has internal os superiorly, external os inferiorly. Between them you have the cervical canal. Okay, this whole thing is the cervix, internal os, external os. The cervical canal will show lot of mucosal folds which are arbor vitae uteri. Okay, this external os is actually projecting into the vagina, and it is forming folds into the vagina which are called as vaginal fornices. Front you call it as anterior vaginal fornix, this point. Posterior, behind you will call it as posterior vaginal fornix. That means the infolding of the cervix into the vagina will show these fornices. And this long lengthy passage which is for as a receptacle for the penis during sexual intercourse, that is the vagina, and it opens outside where, that is the vulva. Okay, then that is about the uterus. In the section you should be able to identify all these, and of course the peritoneal folds. What are those? Vesicouterine pouch anteriorly, rectouterine pouch or pouch of Douglas posteriorly. Okay, rectum anal canal, I told you already, the permanent folds and all those. Okay, now this is one more section where, see here beta, this section is the transverse section which, and the view has been taken superiorly. Now see here, this is pubic symphysis area where you are finding hook is attached. So just behind, that means what is this round organ just behind the pubic symphysis? This whole is our abdomen only. Transverse section of abdomen you have cut and you are taking the picture from above. Okay, what is the organ we have immediately behind the urinary bladder? Meghana? Ritika? What is the name of this
Can
organ?
you urinary bladder, ma'am?
Ha, very good, urinary bladder. So whenever urinary bladder is full of urine, it will be ovoid in shape. It will not have those many surfaces like inferolateral surface, superior surface, base, and all those. Only it becomes full bag and it becomes ovoid. It will have only anterior and posterior surfaces. This point is apex. Apex has one ligament, I said. What is the name of that ligament we have? Urachus will be written in your books. That is the remnant of median umbilical fold. Okay, median umbilical fold. Okay, this is anterior abdominal wall only, which is seen from behind. That means this is the fascia transversalis over which we have parietal peritoneum. Adjacent to this median umbilical fold, we have medial umbilical fold. On either side, this is one and this is one. Medial umbilical fold is actually representing the obliterated umbilical artery, and these are lateral umbilical folds. Okay, where we have inferior epigastric artery and vein. Okay, so again urinary bladder is shown here. Okay, of course this picture won't be there also in your bodies. Now see, this is the female section. Okay, same thing you are finding better. Now again see pubic symphysis area, and this bag is urinary bladder. What is this organ you are finding in the middle?
Uterus.
Ritika, Meghana? Uterus.
Uterus.
Okay, behind
Uterus.
the uterus, what is this organ? Sigmoid colon. The straight one is rectum, which will continue its journey as anal canal. Okay, sigmoid colon, rectum, anal canal. So that means anterior to posterior. Now this is the transverse section and photograph is taken superiorly. Okay, urinary bladder. So this particular part of the uterus is fundus. The anterior surface is actually falling over the superior aspect of urinary bladder. This is the posterior surface. These are the two fallopian tubes we can see. Okay, and this is ovary, right and left ovaries. Okay, now in the fallopian tube you can see fimbriae are also seen, which are holding the ovaries, right? Then what is the name of this broad structure which is completely enclosing the uterus, beta? What is this fold of peritoneum which is completely enclosing uterus? What is it called as? Broad ligament. Okay, broad ligament. So broad ligament will have further things like it has mesometrium, mesovarium, and mesosalpinx. Those are the folds of peritoneum associated with uterus. Okay. So this is again stomach is shown with lesser omentum and greater omentum. Anyhow, we are not discussing stomach now. Duodenum is over. This is cecum appendix. First part of large intestine is cecum. You have the ileum opening, ileocecal valve, and this is appendix. This is ascending colon. This one we have finished. Liver I will discuss in the future classes when you get that particular topic for your dissection. The spleen is there, I guess, tomorrow, right? No, no, it is not there. Kidney, ureter, uterus, urinary bladder. Okay. Okay, kidney we will see. See, what are the presenting parts of kidney? See here, in the cadaver, when you see, this is right kidney. That means when do we see kidney? You have removed the liver which was here. This is the diaphragm. You can see this is the outline. Here we had liver. So you have removed liver, you have removed stomach, you have removed small intestines, large intestines. After removal of pancreas and spleen, after removal of these visceral organs in the posterior abdominal wall, you will be able to see the kidneys. So the presenting parts are upper pole, lower pole. This becomes the medial border. This becomes the lateral border. We have anterior surface and posterior surface. At the upper pole, we have right, because it is right kidney, this is right suprarenal gland. Okay. And what are the structures we see in the bed of the kidney? Posterior relations. I told you it is common for both the kidneys. That is PQT. This muscle you see is the psoas major, quadratus lumborum, and this is transversus abdominis. Okay, this is the hilum of kidney where you have VAP structures. VAP. From anterior to posterior, you try to remember as VAP. V is renal vein. Behind that, you see renal artery, and behind that, you will see pelvis of the ureter. You have to look for the arrangement of the structures with the help of which you will identify the side of kidney, whether it is belonging to right or left side. The arrangement of structure is one behind the other. V first, A second, P third. V is standing for renal vein, A is standing for renal artery, P is standing for pelvis, which continues as ureter. Okay, that is for side determination. Okay, then so this is left kidney. Left kidney still certain structures are shown intact. Just you are finding this is duodenum within which we have the head neck. This is body of pancreas, tail of pancreas, which forms the anterior relations of left kidney. This is splenic artery, splenic vein. Okay, this is left suprarenal gland. Few structures which are forming anterior relations are still shown here. Okay, behind same thing what I told you, PQT. Psoas major, quadratus lumborum, and transversus abdominis. You also have iliohypogastric and ilioinguinal nerves, which form the posterior, and subcostal vessels and nerves. Okay. Now, see, this is kidney, right and left in situ. When you see in the body tomorrow, when you go to dissection hall and when you observe, when all abdominal visceral organs are removed, that means stomach is removed, liver is removed, pancreas are removed, spleen is removed, small and large intestines are removed. After removal of these visceral organs, you will see in the posterior abdominal wall, kidneys are present like this. Okay. Of course, the posterior abdominal wall also will have fat. Okay, once you clear this fat, you will see these muscles P, Q, and T. Psoas major, quadratus lumborum, and transversus abdominis. In the midline structures, we have our abdominal aorta and inferior vena cava. So, abdominal aorta, it has three unpaired blood vessels. What are those? Celiac trunk, superior mesenteric artery, and inferior mesenteric artery. Okay, which are the arteries of foregut, midgut, and hindgut. Okay, and this abdominal aorta bifurcates into right and left common iliac arteries. Okay, beta. So that you observe. This is the dissection of kidney from behind. This will never be done because shortage of time. These are the things which usually we do when we have proper timings for dissection or very short period. You are seeing large visceral organs. Here all anterior relations are shown, like anterior right kidney is related to liver. Okay, this is the hilum. Okay, right colic flexure, and this area is for duodenum. Like that it is shown. Okay, better. Left kidney is related to stomach. This area is for spleen. This is for pancreas. Just now we saw. This is for descending colon. Okay. So posterior relations, we know it is PQT. These are the coverings of the kidney. Okay. Renal fascia, pararenal, renal fibrous capsule, perirenal fat capsule, renal fascia. The this book's themes atlas why I'm using, because it also gives critical aspect. Okay, beta. See, this is the fibrous capsule of the kidney, upper pole, lower pole. You can see the arrangement: VAP, vein, artery, and the pelvis, which continues as ureter. VAP, anterior to posterior. Okay. So this is the fibrous capsule. Okay. Above which we have the perirenal fat. The cut section of kidney will show all these. Outer area is cortex. We have triangular structures which are called as renal pyramids. All these are actually renal papillae. All these renal papillae are actually opening into the major calyces. Major calyces will open into minor callus. Finally you will see pelvis, which continues as ureter. Okay. Renal artery will branch inside to form lobar arteries. No. See, these are all you are finding cut section of the kidney. Okay, these are medullary rays. These triangular structures are renal pyramids. Okay, outer area is cortex, inner area is medulla. Okay, so these renal pyramids are triangular structure. The triangular area, the projection is dipping inside into minor calyx. All minor calyces are joining to form major calyx. Major calyx is now continuing as renal pelvis. Pelvis is now continuing as ureter. Okay, so that is how ureter has started. What is the lining epithelium of ureter? It has transitional epithelium. Okay, when you look at the ureter, so ureter, when it starts in the kidney, so that is the pelvis part of the ureter, and the further journey you will see it is running in the abdomen. That is the abdominal part of the ureter, which is running over the psoas major muscle. It is crossed by gonadal vessels. These are gonadal arteries. In case of females, it is ovarian artery, and in case of males, it is testicular artery. Anteriorly, it is crossed. Okay, in the abdominal part. Once it is continuing its journey in the abdominal part, now it is entering into the pelvis. Okay, so this is the pelvic part. Okay, where it is crossing the internal iliac vessels and its branches, and finally we know it is piercing the urinary bladder. That is the intravesical part. Finally, it opens on either side of trigone. This is the urinary bladder. This is the trigone area where you do not have any mucosal folds. You have two openings. One is right ureter and the other is left ureter. This area is interureteric ridge, also called as bar of Mercier. When the urinary bladder is full, the distance will be 5 centimeters. When the urinary bladder is empty, the distance between two ureters will be 2.5 centimeters. This area is trigone. Okay. Embryologically also, if you remember, they have two separate origins. Whole of the urinary bladder is developed from cloaca, which is the part of endoderm, whereas the mesonephric ducts, they get absorbed inside and they form this trigone area, which is actually derived from mesoderm. Okay, this is the male urinary bladder. That's why we are seeing prostate, and the continuation is prostatic urethra, which is now entering into the urogenital diaphragm. Okay. Male bladder, you have to feel and identify at neck. At the neck, if you find hard, big mass, identify it as male. At the neck, if you do not find hard mass, identify it as female. The sections we have already seen, isn't it? In the male, see, this is the female section, no? Urinary bladder in front, this is pubic symphysis. Behind pubic symphysis, you have urinary bladder, this is median umbilical ligament. We have uterus, behind which we have rectum anal canal. Broad ligament, inside which we have fallopian tube, ovaries, and of course the modifications. What are those? Mesosalpinx, mesometrium, mesoovarium. Trigone is specifically shown here. These are the two ureteric openings, ureteric orifices. Okay, this is triangular area, trigone. Okay, this is female urethra. How to identify it is female urethra? Because we are not finding any prostate gland at the neck of the urinary bladder. That's how we identify. Yes, this is female urinary bladder. Okay, this is the female external genitalia where you will see the opening of urethra, external urethral orifice, above the vaginal orifice. Okay, so exclusively ureter is shown. This is renal pelvis, pelvis part of the ureter, abdominal part of the ureter. Then its journey is pelvic, like in the pelvic cavity when it enters, pelvic part of the ureter. Then it enters into the wall of urinary bladder and opens on either side of trigone. That is the intravesical part of the ureter. Okay. So that is. This is again uterus, which is shown exclusively fundus part. You can see very nicely fallopian tubes and ovaries. This is how it looks in body. In fact, this is cervix, which is projecting into this passage, that is vagina, and these two are the fornices, vaginal fornices. Okay, and this is vaginal orifice outlet, vulva. So this uterus is exclusively shown here. Fundus body. This is broad ligament, fallopian tube, fimbriae, ovaries. Okay, these are the ligaments, no? Ovarian ligament, ligament of the ovary. These are actually ureters. Okay, you are finding its course here. It's the cut section. This already I told you, beta. Antiversion and antiflexion, fornices. What do you call the condition if uterus is just falling backwards? Retroverted uterus. Instead of falling in front, if it is falling backwards, you call it as retroverted uterus. This is histological aspect. We have discussed many times. Okay, this is male urinary bladder, beta. That this will be there. You have to check. This is the posterior aspect of male urinary bladder. You check for this vas difference, 45 centimeters long vas difference. Okay, right and left vas difference, below which you are finding seminal vesicles. The vas difference and seminal vesicles, both the ducts will join to form ejaculatory duct, which opens into the prostatic urethra, isn't it? So this is the prostate gland. Okay, and this is the further journey you are finding urethra. Okay, this is the posterior aspect of urinary bladder. Okay, so where you are finding extra, like male accessory, like reproductive organs. Okay, if here it is not shown, otherwise I'll show you vas difference. This is prostate gland, right? Prostate gland will have many lobes. In the median lobe, you will see the passage of urethra. Okay, so you are finding ejaculatory duct. Just now I told you it is formed by the joining of vas deferens and seminal vesicles, which is opening in the center of this prostatic part of urethra. This midline elevation in the prostatic urethra is called as seminal colliculus. You can observe tomorrow when they are showing you urinary bladder. Try to retract the prostate, you will be able to see these minor details. Okay. So testis is one more structure you have for next dissection, right? So in the testis, what are the presenting parts? It has upper pole, lower pole. At the upper pole, you have epididymis, okay, which has head, neck, head, body, tail. Tail continues as the vast difference which is seen in the spermatic cord. Let us see the cut section of testis where we are finding so many seminiferous tubules. See this. What are the coverings of testis we have? Tunica vaginalis, tunica albuginea, and tunica vasculosa. The tunica albuginea, it goes inside and divides the testis into many compartments. Tunica vasculosa is the tunic along which blood vessels are entering inside. So inside all these compartments, we are finding developing follicles. That is nothing but seminiferous tubules, where you see various stages of the development of spermatogonia. Okay, this network is actually called as retitestis. These are efferent ductules. This whole thing is epididymis, where you are finding head, body, tail of epididymis. The tail is now continuing as vas deferens. Okay. This network of veins is actually called as pampiniform plexus of veins, and towards the artery you are finding the testicular artery. These are the contents of spermatic cord. Now you can see here, beta, see, testis is present in the scrotal sac. Okay, so this is right testis and this is left testis. At the upper pole you are finding this is epididymis. From the tail of epididymis you are now finding vas deferens journey is continuing. What is the length of vas deferens? 45 centimeters. Okay, so it is moving all along the inguinal canal. Hope you remember the superficial inguinal ring, inguinal canal, deep inguinal ring. Then you will find its journey moving on the superior surface of the urinary bladder, going behind. Just now you saw male bladder behind, vas deferens below with seminal vesicles. This is the journey of all vas deferens here, which is going on the posterior aspect of urinary bladder to join with the duct of seminal vesicles to form ejaculatory duct. Okay, so this whole cord-like structure is actually spermatic cord. So what are the contents you will have in spermatic cord? That will be a short note and also viva question. So you will be seeing one is the vas deferens. You are finding network of veins, which is pampiniform plexus of veins. You are finding testicular artery. You are finding certain nerves like genital branch of the genitofemoral nerve, ilioinguinal nerve. Okay, beta. So cremaster muscle, cremastric fascia also will be there. So all these things you should know for spermatic cord. So what is the clinical significance of this pampiniform plexus of vein? It drains the like lot of whatever high temperature is there, it's being collected by these veins. Actually it maintains the testis at lower temperature. The temperature is maintained little low because of the presence of this pampiniform plexus. Why do we require low temperature here? Because spermatogenesis is possible only if the temperature of testis is below the body temperature. That's how they are housed outside. During embryonic life, you will see there is descent of testis, which is usually taking place after 7th month of intrauterine life, where testis will be moving from the abdomen through deep inguinal ring, inguinal canal, superficial inguinal ring. It now comes to lie in the scrotum, isn't it? That's what is descent of testis. All these details I have explained you very well when I was taking theory classes. Okay, this is the cut section of spermatic cord. So cut section, what is it showing? What is the chief content you have to tell to the examiner? What is the main content we have here? Vas deferens. What are these network of veins we are finding? Pampiniform plexus. This is testicular artery and these are the fascias. Cremastric fascia, internal spermatic fascia, external spermatic fascia, cremastric artery, genital branch of genitofemoral nerve. Okay, so all these are the things what we see here. Testis here, kidney is removed. Once kidney is removed, we are finding PQT structures that forms the posterior relation of both the kidneys same. Name them, Ritika. What are these three muscles? Meghana, I repeated thrice. Just
Psoas major,
very good,
quadratus lumborum,
excellent,
transversus abdominis.
excellent, beta. Psoas major, quadratus lumborum, and transversus abdominis. It forms the posterior relation of any kidney. Okay, nice. Very good, beta. This is celiac trunk, which is the unpaired artery arising from the abdominal aorta to supply the structures of foregut. I think almost all the organs are covered, beta. What you asked. You can also check with Netters Atlas. I've sent the PDF. You can download the PDF if you don't have hard copy. Okay, this is renal artery. These are all segmental arteries which are going inside. This also you can download from the link what I have shared with you, Themes Atlas. Because explanation is also given in Themes Atlas along with theory part. That is the advantage of this book. Netters gives only images, no? So theory part again you need not open the textbook. In shortcut everything is given in this book. Whatever is required for your Viva. So almost all abdomen I'm scrolling and checking if I'm missing anything. Okay, beta, that's it. We have done everything. So kidney we have seen, ureter we have seen, urinary bladder we have seen, uterus and testis, sagittal section of pelvis. Everything we covered, isn't it, Ritika? Meghana? So the link will go now
Yes.
within less than 1 minute, beta. Also try to check in Netters Atlas whatever I have shown you. Okay. So we will stop here, beta.
Okay.
So whatever topics you want, you can text me. I will discuss those. Anyhow, Ritika has given list for a few more days. Meghana, if you have anything also, you can share the topics with me. I will discuss. Okay, beta?
Okay.
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 Bye, beta. Good night.